Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been trying to build a mythical gym website called Jacked and Jilled by hand. Right now it kind of looks like a mess, but it's because I'm in the middle of our header section. Okay? So we've created the header section, and now what we've been doing is we've been coming in here and adding the CSS. So I'm just going to continue on, and let's see. Now the left header, so that says class, dot means class, left header. I want the width to be 20 rem. In other words, I want the width of this to be 1/3 of my screen size, and I want it to float to the left. Alright, with some of these we're going to see a lot of change when we bring it up, and some not. Doesn't look like it's changed much, except notice now it moved this over. That's good. Okay, now I can see it's brought my BMI and my contact back up. So it's starting to look a little bit more the way I want it to look. Alright, so let's continue on. Now, for my UL, or my unordered list that's in here, I want this to have some left padding of 1.875 rem, which is about 20 pixels, and some top padding of 6.5 rem. Again, as I've been doing here, whoops, every time I make a change, I've been coming back and showing you what's happened. Again, it may not look like a lot has changed. All right? You have to bear with me as we're going here. So we're pretty much done now with the top header. So let's work on this center part. Let's make sure this looks the way we want it to look, and let's make sure this is over here. Now, how is it looking? Well, if you look, we want that to go down. All right? We'll worry about that in just a couple minutes. All right? So I think we're pretty much done with the left header, so let's move to our middle header. All right? We want the width of that, just like we wanted the width of our left header, we want the width of that to also be 20 rem, and we want that to also float to the left. All right. We want the text align, because there's that thing that says jacked or jilled, or get jacked or jilled, whatever it is. We want that to be centered. We want the font size to be about 32 pixels, so 2 rem. We want the color of that to be our midnight blue. We want there to be no padding. So that's turning it off all over, top, right, left, and bottom. And then we will add some padding just to the top of 1 rem. All right. Now let's see if that's done anything. All right. Now notice, I'm going to make this a little smaller. That's looking a little bit more the way we want it to look. Don't worry that this is pushed off to the right. That'll all be fixed in a matter of moments. Notice too, if I put my mouse here, okay, got to remember to turn that off from the home when I do that. I'm not worried about that right now. All right, so that's my middle header. Now, how about the actual paragraph that's in there that says jacked or jilled? Get yourself jacked or jilled. So that's middle header P. So that's the paragraph. And I want that to have a little bit of a margin top. And I'm going to put a negative margin in there because it has some margin to begin with. So I'm pushing it up a little bit. Again, you may or may not be able to tell, but it's closer here now. All right. All right. So what's left? Well, I've got it's looking pretty good right now. I think I'm missing something because I did want this to be pushed down So I'll take a look at that in just a bit. I might have missed something in what I did earlier. I don't know. So it's time to come in and do the, every once in a while I check just to make sure I turn the tape player on. All right, so let's do the right header. This we want a width also of 20 rem, but this one we want to float to the right, as opposed to the other ones we wanted to float left. All right, that's now looking pretty doggone good. All right, so we'll go back in here. All right, we've done our right header. Let's do our UL. We want that also to float to the right. Sometimes these things can be a bit extraneous, superfluous, unnecessary. All right, sometimes they're necessary. I want to add some right padding, which I believe that's about 20 pixels, and some top padding. Oops. That looks better. All right, so let's take a look and see where we are there. File, save all. Now I move that down, and I haven't moved this one down. So my guess is that earlier I meant for my left heading to do to move that down just like we did this one. So in other words, what I meant to do earlier and didn't do was a padding top for my right header UL of 6.5 rem. Let's look. No, I haven't. So why didn't that one work? Left header UL, right header UL, float right, padding right. It's padding left. Oh, there's a minus sign there. That'll do it. So let's check one more time. There we go. And if you look, all right, and if I compare that, I want them to be about the same size here. You can see they're looking pretty much the same. All right, so what I have now finished with in here, and I realize this is a shorter video than the other ones, but that's fine, is I have come in and I have added, I came in and took my header and broke it into three parts. I took my main header and I divvied it out into a left header, and that left header contained my home link and my about link. I had my center or middle header, which has my clickable image and my catchphrase, get jacked or jilled. And I have my right div, which is the right part of my header, which has BMI and it has contact. All right? So we did that first. Then we came in and put what? About, oh, I don't know, about 70 lines for that. I came in first, added the background color for the entire page, then added the background color for, when I say this, the entire page, I mean the entire screen. This is for the page. Centered it, gave it a width, gave it a default font family. Then for our header, we gave our header a default height. We added some padding, top, none on the right, bottom, none on the left. Remember this, when you work with padding and margin, it's like a clock. If you mention all four numbers, the first number is the top, like 12 o'clock. That's this one. The second number is like 3 o'clock. That's right, and that's that one. The third number is like 6 o'clock. That's bottom. And the fourth number is like 9 o'clock. That's left. So it always goes, if you use all 4 of them at once like this, it always goes top, right, bottom, left. Then for the main header for our hyperlinks, we turned off the text decoration and changed the color to that midnight blue that we had up here. Same as our background color. All right. Then both for our main header, when we hover over it, all right, any hyperlink and any active link, I just made them red. This may change at a later time. Then for the unordered list items for the main header, we displayed them inline. So instead of them displaying vertically like this, they now displayed horizontally. And these were the leftmost ones. So we gave it some left padding, all right, of about, I don't know exactly what that is, 12 or so pixels. And we took the font size and made it 1.5 times the regular size, which I believe by default would go to 24 pixels. Then what we said here was for our first child. So right after the first, what this does is this put that right border, and where did it put it? It put a right border here and here. All right. Then we did some work with our left header. We wanted to make sure that the width of our left header, our middle header, and our right header were all 20 rem. So they all took up 1/3 of the screen. We floated the left header to the left. We took the unordered list that was in there and gave it some left padding and some top padding to push it to the right and to push it down. Then with our middle header, we gave it again that same width. We again floated it to the left. We took any text that was in there that was a get jacked or jilled. We took that and centered it and made it 32 point. Made the color our midnight blue. Took away all padding for now. And then just added top padding of 1 rem, or about 16 pixels. For the paragraph that was in there, it still had a little bit of default padding in there. And it was pushed down, so I moved it back up by giving it a negative margin. All right, that just moved it up so it was closer to the image. Finally, for the right header, we again put the width to 20 rem. This time we floated it to the right. All right. Finally, for our unordered list, we again floated that to the right, gave it some right padding to move it to the left, and gave it some top padding. All right. So that pretty much is it so far, and as I've already shown you, now the heading in the page, the site we're building ourselves, looks very similar to the heading that we've already set. Now I'm not going to do anything right now with the footer. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in the next video and add my middle section that's in here, and then come back in and put in the footer. And I'll be back with that shortly.